Hello, everybody. And yes, I've been talking this whole time with no volume because, yeah, I got it. That's how I like to start these things, you know? So, if you're just joining us, we just got done watching the Joe Biden CNN spectacle that I got a little gnat flying around, sorry. That they just put on for Joe Biden on CNN. I don't know who among you have watched it. We cut out early because it was getting close to 9. I wanted to get this rolling. But we've taken notes. A bunch of people in chat have taken notes. We're gonna start talking about it. And if you guys want to join us, just we're gonna put links to this Discord in the chat. You can come in, just join the voice chat, and you'll be able to talk with us. So I'm gonna go ahead and unmute myself here and get it going.
It's one of the most evil and disgusting
Hey guys,
things you can do to a human being. And the Democrats, that is what they, from my perspective as an Australian, just listening to what the Democrats say to black people, they just feed them.
Oh wait, you can't. That's right.
Of learned helplessness. It's just cruelty. They do.
Should be headphones.
Well, but I think it's wider. They try to teach it to everybody. The idea that you're a victim.
One second, guys.
And you're right about that. It's that as well as because I was actually speaking to Surrounded by Enemies earlier today about that, basically stating where at what point do black people start to take responsibility? All right, we already know what's happened. We already know what's been done. We already know all of this, right? At what point is it like, okay, that's been done. Now what? You know what I'm saying? At what point where it's like, all right, well, I mean, that was fucked up what happened.
Exactly.
Time to move on. Well, you know what I'm saying? Time to move on.
I do.
Time to go out
Bricks, guys.
And go get mine. And that was my argument. Like, okay, I do know that's all happening or happened. I shouldn't say happening, happened. But am I now still supposed to be like, well, you owe me for the rest of your life? Well, no. You move on.
It's also
you gotta move on
because it's that idea of you need us to come help you. You can't possibly help yourself.
Well, yeah, they're never taught independence.
Guys.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. All right, so we are live streaming, guys. Sorry, everybody. I just I think you guys couldn't hear me. Anyway, so
no, I could see you waving, but we could not.
Yeah,
hear
right.
You.
So we are live here. We're gonna talk about the CNN town hall with Joe Biden. It was literally, if you were here in chat with us, you watched it. It was literally the opposite, 180 degrees of the ABC News town hall with Trump yesterday. Just totally opposite, where the Trump town hall was all focused on Democrat resistance in the audience, asking media DNC questions, and George Stephanopoulos, the Clinton administration official, Democrat operative in the media, arguing with Trump with everything. This was just the opposite. This was Joe Biden just saying, you know, it was everybody setting Joe Biden up to either attack Trump or to sound, you know, presidential or whatever. It was just it is pure propaganda. And we're going to talk about it. I know Bricks took a lot of notes. I'm glad he's on camera because he took a lot of notes. I want people to see and hear him. And anybody else that took notes, you're going to be able to chime in. But we're going to start out with Bricks. Just what did you notice? And I am going to bring in video clips here at certain points to show what he's talking about. I'm going to try and find them while we're talking about them. I have a few lined up. But Bricks, what did you see first of all?
All right. Well, one of the things that I mainly noticed was his cognitive decline. I did put the times down. Now, granted, that can be subjective or whatever. He lasted a good 30 minutes, number one, you know, straight out the bat. Now, he started stuttering within 20 minutes in. He started kind of losing it a little bit. They went to commercial at 8:30. And then after they came back, he was more somber, more mellow, more, everything was fine. But then literally within the first 15 minutes, he just started losing it again. He called the press secretary, Kellyanne Conway, which she's not the press secretary. That would be Kayleigh McEnany. So,
yep.
And then literally 2 minutes later, CNN goes to another commercial. So that's one of the main things that I've noticed. Obviously, which everyone knows is his cognitive decline, but I actually just kind of like put the times down, where I noticed where he just started to get more animated and then starting to go downhill. And there's a lot of other things too, but that will be the main one that I seen where it was like, oh, he on point. He making points, everything's fine, and then it just started going downhill 20 minutes in.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The whole thing was, I will say this, he actually held up better than I thought he would. He had a couple moments where he was like, he closed his eyes. Have you noticed that when he starts getting fucked up, he's like, he closes his eyes. He's like, he tries to fix himself. And a couple times he stopped himself. He's like, oh, I better stop talking about that. Or he's like, I better stop talking about cancer. But throughout the entire thing, there was many lies told. I mean, you hear about fact checking and all this. They were fact checking Trump. Stephanopoulos was. Anderson Cooper let him get away with everything. There was no fact check. And even at one point, the audience applauded Joe Biden. They applauded.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, there was a couple of points that they applauded him.
Did they? I only noticed it once, but okay.
I noticed one where they applauded him, and to kind of piggyback off what you said, Drum, when he started talking about the cancer patient or whatever, that's when he started to rattle. That was at 7:24 or 8:24, 7:24 my time. That was at 8:24 p.m. where he just started rattling off, and then he apologized for going off topic to Anderson. Oh, I'm sorry. So it was so like he knew what he was doing was wrong, and he wasn't supposed to be doing that. And he literally apologized to Anderson for doing it.
Right. Yeah, you're right. There were so many ridiculous moments like that throughout it that were just... I don't understand how these people do... Like Anderson... Well, first of all, let's put this in the context. Anderson Cooper himself... Okay, so I'm 41 years old. When I was in high school, which would have been like 94, 95, 96, 97, or somewhere around there, we had something called Channel 1 in our schools. Do you guys remember that? Channel 1. Anderson Cooper, it was like a news program that they pumped into the schools. Anderson Cooper was the anchorman of that. And like, I don't really remember what they were saying back then, but I wonder now. It's like, were they pumping in like, and I've looked for videos. There's some videos, a few, if you look, but not many. Anyway, so he actually worked with the CIA, right? And so this is like basically a CIA agent up there. And at one point, he even comes at Biden asking him if he maybe would take more federal control. If maybe that would be a good idea. It's just so funny, and it just shows what what we were just watching. It was just complete charade.
I mean, if anyone else want to jump in, I mean, I got on that.
Go for it.
Basically, what they just did with that was just flip flop. It was a softball question. Hey, would you mandate federal masks? And he was like, no, I can't do that. Well, you just flip flop because you had already said that he would make a federal mandate for masks, which is unconstitutional.
Well,
so
he said on federal property. He said on federal property.
That's now he's saying that. That's correct, Steve. That's now he's saying that. But at first it was, I would mandate it. Absolutely, I would. So it's flip flopping.
Yeah. Yeah. So
there was nothing organic about it. I think that was the part that stood out.
Yeah, and I just want to let everybody know, if you want to come into Discord, you can join us in this discussion. So one of the things I noted, the first thing I noted was that Biden said at one point that by January we would have another 200,000 dead. At one point, he said that. So I don't know if that was just a flub on his part or if he actually thinks that. But obviously the deaths are leveling out. I think yesterday when Trump made his little gaffe about herd mentality, when he said that, he meant herd immunity, obviously. But I think he's right.
Herd intellect or something. He was using the wrong term.
Right. I think that basically that...
Actually, I've got something to say about that. When he said herd mentality, and then later also he was talking about... there are bad people in police, there are bad people in politicians and all that. He didn't say on both sides. He just said there are bad people, period.
Right.
He never said on both sides. He never clarified any of that. Trump has done that. He never clarified any of that at all. He just said there are bad people, insinuating And whenever you take into account that he was going through the LGBT community, the BLM community, he's pandering straight up nothing but to all the people that have been out there doing all this and that think like this already. And he's trying to moderate a little bit. Like Brooks was saying earlier, he's trying to kind of be a little more moderate. You know,
I
yeah,
think
of
he's trying
course
to
he
play
is
both
because he's
sides.
trying to get elected right now. But I mean, he's definitely pandering to every single different group all at once. You know, and one thing that I can say that is a little strange is you had every single person that come up there, they look to me like they were paid to be there. I'm just saying, you know, I ain't gonna go into a conspiracy theory about it, but it just looked strange. The people that they had up there and the questions that they were asking, reading them off a piece of paper the entire time. It wasn't a town hall. It was completely scripted the entire time.
It was a poorly written play.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, I have to agree with you with that. One thing that I noticed is a lot of them kept saying, "Welcome home." I mean, that was the very first thing that they would say as soon as they walked up, and it became a red flag when I heard it. Like by the third time, I wrote it down. Welcome home. Like, why do they keep saying that over and over and over again? Like, dude, that's not even organic at all. Like, stop. So I put a note on there like, I think these are actors, and I literally noted that like I think these are actors because it's becoming more scripted.
That's exactly
as time went on.
Nice. That's a good point. Nice. And you know what else I noticed?
That's exactly
the whole point that
well, you know, didn't Hillary get nailed for having a kid who acted during one of her things, and the girl like listed her thing on IMDb?
Drone,
so
I
it
can
would
hear
not
you.
be the first time. Yeah. If they were actually, I don't think these people were actors, but I do think they were. I bet you they were not only scripted, but I suspect that they had to practice.
Drone, check your mic. Or is it just me?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we hear you now.
Okay, yeah, my software my software mixer is jacking off for some reason, but something else I noticed what you were saying about the welcome home thing is that they were in Scranton, which okay, I'm really getting my tinfoil hat on here now, but everybody loves The Office, right? And that takes place in Scranton. Like, why did they pick Scranton? I don't really know. I feel like they did that for like
He's
optics.
from Scranton.
Is he from Scranton? Okay.
Yeah, he was born in Scranton.
I thought he.
Raised
Well, he
there,
was a senator in Delaware,
well,
but I don't know
his,
where
I'm
he's
sorry,
from.
was
Though.
his dad
I never
was
looked. I didn't know. I just thought that was just odd.
I don't
that
think his father
welcome
is from
home,
Scranton.
and then they would ask their question like, "Who the fuck does this?" Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, who does this?
No,
I'm not gonna be welcome home, and then keep going.
He was talking about how he was born in Scranton, and that's why they were saying welcome home and all that.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's probably why they picked Scranton specifically.
One main point. Okay, yeah, that's just the actors.
Hold on, I have one here.
Okay. One main point that I would like to bring up myself is when he really started getting into it after it was just before the cancer thing, but he was blaming Trump for our loss of freedom. So basically, I put on there like, so you're saying that okay, there is a sense of freedom loss. However, the reason why the freedom loss is mainly in the Democrat cities, because where I live, we good to go. Like we do it, we do pretty much do whatever we want. Yeah, we do have to wear masks, but we can still go to restaurants. We can still go out. You can go to a club. You can go to a strip club. It don't matter. You can still do things. What freedom is lost except the Democratic cities? So I had to make a note of that.
He was going with the Bill Barr thing that Bill Barr said that it was equivalent to slavery. They're still going along
which
that
is
same
a lie.
line.
Right. He did not compare it. Bill Barr did not compare it to slavery. He said slavery, and he gave two caveats to it. He said other than slavery, and then he said, and it's a different thing altogether, and then he said the other thing. So he definitely was not comparing them. And
no, he wasn't. Like if you.
Yeah. But they're still going along this with the same narrative though.
You know when they did the same, they pulled the same thing when Trump when the whole both sides thing happened. He said when Acosta asked him that question, he said, "Oh, is Washington and Jefferson next?" And yeah, I had a point there, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, he said that, and then no, I remember he said, "Is Washington and Jefferson next?" And Acosta and all those guys, and then there was a bunch of media reports after that where they were like, "Oh, Trump is trying to compare Washington and Jefferson to these rebel leaders." And that's not what he was doing. He wasn't comparing them. He was just saying that they would use the same logic to take down Washington and Jefferson. Right, he was right. But it was just funny because that's what there was all these reports. If you look it up, Trump compares Washington and Jefferson to the rebel leaders. It's like, what the hell? That's not at all what or the Confederate generals. That's what they say. But yeah, anyway.
Correct.
I'm just saying they pull that same trick. That's the exact same thing they're doing there.
Yeah,
because
they make the Confederates flag a racist symbol. No matter what, if you see a Confederate flag or anything of the sort, it's automatically racist. No matter what, it's not about Southern pride or anything like that. Nothing about anything else. It's all about he's a racist. Well, he's a white supremacist.
Yeah, I mean, I have no love for the Confederate flag. Or any of that stuff. I don't really care, but I do defend it just on principle. Just on principle alone, I do.
Did you not like the Dukes of Hazzard?
And believe it or not,
oh yeah, I love the Dukes of Hazzard.
When I was a little kid, no Confederate flag. Like, what they got to do with me? If they want to ride with it, go ahead and ride with it. You want a beer? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care.
Look, for most Southerners nowadays, it is all about heritage. It is not about any kind of hate or anything like that. It's straight up about nothing but heritage and just being proud of being from the South.
Is the Confederate flag being used as in violent attacks or anything like that? I don't think it is.
Well, the Ruth attack, I think, is what.
No, it's not.
They always point to.
No, it's not.
That's what they pointed to when they started taking
that was a horrible thing.
The last person that they can really connect it to specifically is Dylan Ruth. All right, and I totally condemn what he did, totally altogether. There is no question about that.
He was evil shit. That should have been
of the push.
Honestly, Dylan Roof should have been executed on the spot. Honestly,
and that's not what that's about.
Dylan Roof should have been executed on the spot.
But at the same time, I will say this. All right, there was a church not too far from my house that got burnt, and it turns out the guy that burned the church. He went to the church, but he tried to blame it on the right wing by spraying Trump and everything on the church.
I remember that one.
Oh, yeah, that was it wasn't far from my house.
There's a lot of that. You know why?
But that was the case where you didn't hear the follow-up story as much as you heard. It's the idea that the lie goes around, the world twice before.
Drone, what's wrong with your mic?
Yep.
I don't know.
He sounds good.
You keep cutting out.
Am I good? Can
Stop spilling beer on it.
No, I'm not. No, it's.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? All right, that's good. Maybe it's it could be the button on my mouse that is it could be flaking out. Sorry. Hey, real quick, I just want to. Can you guys hear me? I just want to thank everybody for watching us, and we're just gonna keep talking here. Y'all are welcome to join us. Basically, the purpose of these streams is just to kind of build the Discord community, because we have a lot of people here and we like to talk about a wide range of different topics, and it's always good. And honestly, we're looking for left-wingers and people who don't agree with us to get in here, because that would make it a lot more interesting. I think we all agree. But let's see here.
And there ain't no kind of hostility here either. Just let you know.
I don't think so. We have a couple guys here who actually I haven't really seen a lot from since I last thrashed them. But anyway, so there was a couple other things here that I made a note about, a ton of stuff here. Biden at one point claimed that Trump, he literally came out and said that Trump called his dead son, who was a first lieutenant in Afghanistan, and he was killed by and actually he stepped on a mine. Somebody's mic show. Joe Biden's son did die in Afghanistan. He was a hero. He did step on a mine and he was killed, but he claimed that Trump called his son a loser.
That was at 8:24.
Yeah, what in the hell? I mean, there's literally no verification of it. There's unidentified sources, and then there's a bunch of people who were there, including people who hate Trump, that said he didn't say it, that were there. And yet he said that. Where was the fact?
And another thing is, Trump actually denied all of that. He says, I never said anything like that. Like, I put next to that debunk. That's what I did. Because I'm like, well, Trump already said he never said that. Because that was like in general that Trump was calling, all servicemen losers or, stupid or whatever. And that's already, Trump had came out and was like, I never said that. Like, even the press tried to attack him on that. And he was like, I ain't never say that. Like, who are the sources, basically? And there aren't any. And I thought also that Atlantic article was debunked. That came from the Atlantic article from one dude where he took the quote or something off of The Godfather. Like, the whole thing is a sham.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree. And let's see here. What else we got? Does anybody else in here have anything they want to throw in? Or?
Well, I got this, and I know this is more. I don't know how many people actually kind of follow body movements, but if you notice with Biden, he doesn't access any part of his brain. Like, he's asked the question. He just looks at the what's his name?
Cooper.
Anderson
Cooper.
Yeah.
He just looks at him, and then after Anderson answers the question, he just answers it. He doesn't have to look up and go and think about it. He just immediately answers the question. So to me, those are all red flags. Even when the audience was asking him questions, he doesn't have to access any part of his brain to think about it. So to me, that's further lets me know that this entire event was just a sham.
Oh, yeah.
It's garbage.
Did anybody catch the part with the mask, though? Because that was clearly something he had practiced, where he kept grabbing the mask and shaking it. He did it way too many times, and it was too forced. And I'm like, how? He's like a trained monkey at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Where that was something where he was like, and I suspect somebody.
Obviously, but I'm just saying. How many of y'all? Because I want to get off topic, but if any of y'all actually do follow that type of stuff, even now, I have to look down at my notes. But if I access personal experience, you will see my eyes move. You can't help it. You will see them go up or you'll see them go down because I'm thinking. I didn't do that one time tonight, not once, and I was looking intensely. Like, okay, he's gotta come on a memory. None of that. Not one memory.
I'm going to give a little bit of pushback on that.
Okay, go ahead.
It doesn't necessarily signal that it was a memorized thing, because when you memorize something, you also do that look up and look into your memory to remember the answer. It actually leans to something he's honest about, because he doesn't have to think about it. He does it right off the tongue, which is actually a point for Biden in his cognitive abilities. I was kind of surprised to see him answer so quickly, but he really just started off with filler, and then once it started to get into the details, you hear him start slurring his words a lot, mixing words together. I heard him do that quite a bit, and just start talking and go off track, go off on tangents. He did that a few times, and even
when
had
he
to
tries
even
to go
apologize
into
for
memory,
it.
that's when he slurs.
Well, Stanton, the reason. Oh, go ahead, Amelia.
Well, hey, I want to get off.
I wouldn't have thought that was a suggestion that he was being honest, though. The fact that he didn't have to look up, like, even if you're asked a question, if you're in a debate situation, you're asked a question, and you have an answer that you're going to give that is completely honest, that you know the answer, you still do that thing because you're still drawing that information from your brain. I'd be more inclined to say